to partner with our fine universities to conduct research on the efficiency and effectiveness of state-funded mental health programs in public and charter schools. It will provide us with real data so we can provide our taxpayers with real accountability to the effectiveness of this bill. And I move passage.
Members have heard the explanation of HB 906. Is there any objection to consideration? Chair is none. Chair lays out. Mr. Stickland, for what purpose?
Let her lay it out.
Chair hears none. The chair lays out HB 906. Clerk will read the bill.
HB 906 by Thompson of Harris.
Chair recognizes Ms. Thompson.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Stickland.
I intend to speak for 10 minutes on this bill.
Ms. Thompson has yielded the floor.
May I make a parliamentary inquiry? Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
On January the 8th, we adopted some rules to govern ourselves here at the House. And the rules, I think, encompass the fact that if there are objections, such as Mr. Stickland is making this morning, and speaking 10 minutes on the bill, that his speaking would have to be germane to the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stickland.
Members, I'm speaking in opposition to this for a number of different reasons. In the last 4 sessions since I have been in the Texas House, being involved in the local and consent calendar, I've seen a number of bills like House Bill 906 that were not local and certainly did not have consent, which is why I have at times done exactly what I'm doing right now. House Bill 906, which is relating to the establishment of a collaborative task force to study certain public school mental health services.
Mr. Speaker.
And let me tell you why I think...
Ms. Thompson, for what purpose?
I'm raising an objection to the Speaker for not being germane on the bill. The bill does not cover last session.
Yes, ma'am. Chair would remind the Speaker, Chair would remind the representative speaking against the bill to constrain the comments to the subject of the bill.
Parliamentary requirement, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
The time that he has speak does not redeem his time. It does not count toward the 10 minutes that he was speaking because of the non-germane speech.
We did pause the clock when you made your parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that Mr. Stickland has his whole 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to ensure that.
This body loves to pass studies like House Bill 906. And the funny thing about it is I've never had anyone come to my office and bring one of these studies that the body has passed. I don't know about you. But my biggest concern about House Bill 906 is very simple. It is, what is the proper role of government? And many folks like myself in the Republican Party feel like government being involved in any kind of health care is a bad deal. But especially the newest moves in regards to mental health. I've been astonished at how many liberties and rights are under attack under the name of mental health services. It is amazing to me how many folks out there think that government can do and accomplish the job of dealing with these tough issues. And I've spent my entire legislative career making some simple points. That individuals and communities can do a better job of growing our economy, strengthening our families, and taking care of the well-being of all of our citizens than government can. Mental health...
Mr. Stickland, be reminded that your remarks need to be constrained to the subject of the bill.
Mental health is something that is very serious. The question before us in regards to House Bill 906 is whether government can do a better job than churches and community, and I say no. I say no. Collaborative Task Force on Public School Mental Health Services just means that we're going to be asking our schools to do more than they already are asked to do. And what I don't want to do is continue to burden them with all of the responsibilities that society and community should be taking on instead of government. Task Force in House Bill 906 is defined as the Collaborative Task Force on Public School Mental Health Services. The Collaborative Task Force on Public School Mental Health Services is established to study and evaluate, number one, mental health services that are funded by this state and provided at a school, district, or open enrollment charter school. We often talk about mandates, local control, and we continue to get these unfunded mandates on our schools, because I'm pretty sure this doesn't have a fiscal note, because we love to take a little idea
Mr. Speaker,
that sounds good on
Mr.
paper.
Canales, for what purpose?
we'd ask the chair to remind the representative to stick to the subject of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Canales. Mr. Stickland, please constrain your remarks to the subject of the bill.
My objection to the bill is very simple. I do not think that government should be involved in health care and should not be involved in mental health care. This is something that families should be taking care of and not government. Because every time they do get involved in something like establishing of a collaborative task force to study certain public school mental health services, they mess it up. And when government comes in and mandates things like this, it becomes more scarce. And it also makes it harder to innovate. And that's why we need to reject this bill, and we need to get government out of healthcare. It's very simple. My other objection to House Bill 906 is the fact that it's continuing to tell our schools what to do in Austin. And what I hear from families in House District 92 and all across the state is that they find it easier to get results in the areas that they care about by simply going to the local school board. Because if we continue to mandate stuff here in Austin, that means that every constituent that would like to see something done has to come down here and convince 76 of you.
Ms. Thompson, for what purpose?
I'd like to ask that the speaker confine his remarks to the bill.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Stickland, you have been instructed to constrain your remarks to the subject of the bill. You need to constrain your speaking points to the subject of the bill. You've also been instructed that simply reading the bill is dilatory, so please refrain from reading the bill. Thank you.
Members, you see what's happening here, and I've been very clear about my intentions and my opposition to this bill. And the member has chosen to do this, not myself, by requiring this. Gathering data. Here's a question for you. Do you value privacy? I do. And what I don't want to ask our schools is to be distracted by things like gathering data, which the committee substitute in House Bill 906 requires the task force to gather data on the number of students enrolled in
Mr.
each
Speaker.
district.
I raise the objection
Ms. Thompson.
that the member is not confining his remarks to the bill.
Ms. Thompson, please come down front.
Recently, the Texas Tribune published an article in regards to Texas lawmakers are prioritizing mental health for school safety, but advocates worry about stigma. The newfound push this session around school safety and preventing mass shootings is reinvigorating ideas about mental health care for Texas children. But advocates often cringe when legislators make the argument that mental health care is key to preventing mass shootings. Mental health is at the forefront of gun violence prevention conversations among Texas legislators this session. But advocates for people with mental illness are wary of that
Mr. Speaker,
focus.
I'd like to raise an objection of the member talking about papers on the floor. This has nothing to do with my bill.
Please bring your objection down front.
Members, like I was saying, I've got major concerns about House Bill 906. And I have to tell you, I think the unintended
Speaker,
consequences
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Mr. Stickland, do you yield?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, Mr. Field.
I'm worried about the unintended consequences of asking our schools to take a larger role in providing healthcare services under the guise of mental health services, which could lead to a number of different problems that, frankly, I think other people can do better. And one of the concerns that I've had about all these issues that come before this body is, can the parents do a better job than government? And what happens when we pass bills like House Bill 906 that continues to take something I think the family should be dealing with and makes government do it?
Ms. Thompson raises a point of order. The gentleman's time has expired. Point of order is well taken and sustained. House Bill 906 is withdrawn from the calendar.